to...
It was even worse. You should have seen what happened to kids at Scott. I had to go down there and they were rioting.
Nicky, tell me why you had to stay, you wanted to stay in England after you had your tour.
Well, we wanted to come back and go to Japan. I was better off where I was. So,
Didn't sound like it.
They
Even
were
if the average life expectancy was 25 missions.
I wouldn't give it any more chances. But he's afraid they were going to send him to Tokyo, though. I'm not to Tokyo, but...
that's where aren't you? Japan.
Lord knows that was terrible.
So, met these two girls too. I had the pictures, by the way, and turned them out. A chap named Bert Bolton used to be an Arctic explorer, was the head of this thing. It wasn't OSS, and it wasn't Army Intelligence or anything like that. But it was breaking the international understandings. He said we can volunteer for this. We don't have to do it at all. We can go home, or we can do it and quit anytime we want. We don't like it. Okay. So, got orders to go down the Strand. They fitted me out in pick my own clothes, but it was supposed to be untraceable. And we going to Dundee, and it's a massive base, but all the panes are painted black. No numbers or anything on them. And they're parachuting people into Germany. And the whole network is run out of Edinburgh. And nobody knows what anybody else is doing. But my first test was to go to Stockholm, and we had about 3,000 or more Allied bombing personnel that had got banged up over Germany and figured they couldn't get back to England, so they flew to Stockholm, where they were interned for the duration of the war.
Not bad.
How do you know who's doing that on purpose or who really had it? So, this is 44. So, went in there, picked up those people. We had to fly. There wasn't much Luftwaffe left in there. A lot of people will say, and there's a lot of people got killed in air fights. But I don't believe I ever saw a Luftwaffe plane going from Stockholm to Dundee. That's what I did at first.
So you were transporting the down...
How many could you get?
Which was illegal, and I'd been in bars in Stockholm where there were German officers down there. They're in uniform and we aren't. I never quite understood that.
Well, in Stockholm, they let you alone.
Well, I imagine it like Lisbon, you know, or Casablanca.
Well, how many could you carry home in a B-24?
They're bucket seats, no Bombay, and 40, 50. Basic.
Were they happy to get out?
No, because they could be facing quite a deal of investigation. Not court-martial for these men, but they had a documented. They'd had a good life until some British air marshal or high-ranking. They didn't have any organization. They couldn't, having to do with Swedish girls, Norwegian girls, and a lot of restrictions, but they could come and go if they pleased, and they were fed. But this guy came, he turned it into a military camp. They had to get up in the morning and do Form KP and back to the military. They were running like that at all. So,
Well, how many times did you get shot down?
6.
6 times.
Where's six?
6 times we were in such shape we couldn't get in our own base. That's all. I remember going across London where I could get out and stepped on top of St. Paul's. That's where it was all black. I thought that town would never get out from under.
Well, you're just
we
running
came in
on...
over Beachy Head. That is the biggest town spread out there is.
Well, you were just running on a couple engines that time?
And no gasoline. We'd thrown everything we could throw out overboard. including the guns.
All the times you were shot down, did you always make it back to England?
Did what?
Did you
Always,
Make it,
except in the water.
but how many times did you get shot down in the channel?
Just one. Just one run out of gas.
That must be kind of scary, coming in, crash landing in the water.
It's cold. What's scary is we tied our belts around each other and our dinky wouldn't inflate. But I had this little thing they called a May West. You could crack it, send on the SOS, Mayday. And SU Rescue was excellent. They were there in no time at all, but in the meantime we were half froze to death and the waves were so high we lose each other. I mean, when one bunch would go over a wave, the other be down the trough.
With your
And
wrist still held
our
together.
plane cracked right in half at the waistcoat.
Mhm.
You know, the first Ray put it into the trough parts, not crossways, you know. And the first shot wasn't bad, but the second one was terrific. Isn't that strange?
Kind of skipping like a stone.
And it didn't float more. Well, we had time to get the dicky boat out. It didn't work. You remember shark repellent?
Yeah.
It didn't work either.
But you didn't see any sharks.
I didn't expect any sharks there, but down,
Mediterranean.
yeah, well, no, South America.
Oh, Mediterranean.
Don't you remember the
we have sharks,
crocodiles
too.
that they left?
Yeah.
We went down the deck and I never saw millions of crocodiles.
Wait, you were flying to South America?
Yeah.
To get to, they
They
went
took off to South America.
South
I left you
Africa
right-
to the car Africa to up north. See, they didn't go straight across
The
there.
Atlantic.
Oh, okay.
New York to West Palm Beach to Trinidad to Belém, Brazil to Fortaleza to Dakar to Marrakesh, Morocco to England.
Boy, that's a circuitous route. It must have taken you a week to get around there.
The longer the better.
We took as long as we could.
I'll bet you did.
Sightseeing trip.
Well, did you get any leave and any furlough or time off at each place, or did they just go in and go?
Mostly get to go. Marrakesh, we were stuck there for 3 weeks because the Bay of Biscay was horrible weather. And also it was backup. And I went to a show one night and somebody left an old Life magazine. I'd sent Eileen one of those ridiculous airmail, green thing, blue thing, remember? Real life. I've forgotten what silly thing it said, but at
You
least
couldn't
she
say
knew.
what you wanted to
At least
say.
she knew I was across the Atlantic. Look, here, got this Life magazine. There's the whole route. We couldn't even write to anybody or anything. There it is, all there.
Now, how long did it take you to fly those 66 missions? How long were you over there?
It doesn't take long if they're all in sequence. It can take, depends on the weather. You can go every day. Not only the weather where you are, it's where the weather is.
So
And
were you
You can run up an awful lot of inches all fast.
were you there over a year or less than a year?
Well, not only that, I had the Dundee thing. I wound up in Cologne and Warsaw on the ground.
Now, what
Oh,
was the
that-
date when you left the States?
August, left the States. Christmas one. We were at Langley at Christmas,
Of what year?
So that was
Of
43.
43,
Now, when
and
did you
to
come
Mitchell.
back?
And came back in fall.
So,
Oh, you were back in August. Because we were in Chicago in August for VJ Day.
And I was over
43, 44, yeah.
I was over the beach at 4 times Invasion Day, and that'd be June 6th.
At 19,000 feet, could you see much of it?
It's warm. Well, if it hadn't been, it was the worst weather in 100 years, Phil.
That's right.
And when it broke, looking down when you saw the water, I would never see anything like this again. You could all walk across on it. It's hard to believe looking down there that fellas are getting. I think the bravest people I know are the beach masters.
Oh, boy. And the beach party.
And the old men on top of the buildings in London during Hackett race.
Many of them killed.
Well, they had to be because the stuff was falling back down. Plus,
Probably more people killed from the Ack than there were from the bombs.
well, Hyde Park was just axle guns.
Well, how did you end up in Warsaw?
In the same outfit.
So that was kind of the essence.
Supreme headquarters was so certain that Hitler was going to end the war in the mountains, you know. That all the planning was that way. And contacts were already, my job was just to communicate, said, Mama, no. These were people that were really knew how to survive. They'd been day one. They lived on nothing. They had information. They become double agents now.
So these are people you flew
One
from
of them,
Sweden
one
to
of them I
Warsaw?
know, they took a boat because of what was going on and garroted him.
Because he was dealing with both sides.
They were, Gestapo was getting too close.
Now wait,
We moved all the time, always at night. I never saw a thing. I never knew I was in Warsaw. I never knew a thing close.
how long
So-
were you there?
It couldn't have been over 21 days.
But you were on the ground that time?
Yeah.
You weren't flying in and out of
No,
Warsaw? You were
No,
on
for
the
spy.
ground?
I got caught up in a shot.
What was your mission?
Try to find out if what was going on was that Hitler was going to be in Berlin, not in where it was.
Were you
That had a lot to do with it. Like the man.
Well, how were you able to find out?
These people knew.
By what?
They
talking
knew
to
how to
locals,
live
or-
by their what's never something but and their metal lingo. Dirty, filthy people, and they're shrewd. They lived by their wits for years.
Now how could you get by? Because you spoke
Other
no
people did
Polish.
it. Other people did it. Oh,
Wait,
my hand,
he asked you a question.
Oh, yeah.
But how could you survive since you didn't speak any Polish?
Other people did it with me. I said the metal lingo. They had to be Polish and still be alive.
Most of them were Polish people.
No, they're Slavs. Ukrainians, I think, most Ukrainians were the big suffers along with the Poles. Never could understand why the Russian army sat there for 20 days for nothing while they watched the Germans level Warsaw.
Because they didn't care about the Poles.
Nobody cared about the Poles.
Well, how many people were on this mission?
In the group with me,
Yeah.
5.
So you just all tried to...
And by golly, when I got back, there were my 2 colonels again, and we all came back to the United States again. And it was C-130, just the 3 of us.
So did all 5 of you make it out except for that one that was garroted?
That happened just after I got there, and I don't know a thing about it.
But it wasn't in your group.
It was the group, but it happened before we joined. It's a huge underground. I was only a little target. Big machine.
So you
The big thing is your signal went out